Morning! Anybody there? Morning, everyone. I'm on the ball this morning. Come on. Trying to pin the post. And he won't let me do it. Why won't he let me pin the post? Pin. There we are. Anybody there? If you're on, say hello. Be nice to see you all. Hi Carolyn, it's just me at the moment. Ian's had to go take his dad to the hospital to have some injections in his eyes. So I'm here on my own at the moment. Just sharing this with a few people. Doopy-doopy-doo. Good morning, Lynn. How are you? Are you well? Are you well too, Carolyn? I'm well, if anyone is interested. I've got my coffee ready. I've done lots of die cutting in prep. It's probably something I've forgotten. Morning all. Say hello if you fancy it. Oh good, glad to hear that, Lynn. I got some nice relaxing music on as well. Some nice flute music, I think it is, this morning. Oh, hello Jacqueline. How are you, Jackie? Have you had to play with your new Cricket Joy yet? Have you had a chance? Or have you not had time? You've been working. Good morning, Dawn. How are you? Are you doing okay? Doop-a-doop-a-doo. So this is the die I'm going to be using this morning, or one of the dies. Good morning, Donna. Nice to have you back as well, Lynn. So this is one of the dies from Crafter's Companion. It's a pop-up box card die. So this is basically just the die that creates the pop-up box. Oh, and there's Ian, I think, just walked in the door. This is the one that creates the pop-up box, and then we also have some other dies. I think there's, oh, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 maybe different different options. Hello. Morning. Ian's back. With various different sort of themes. So this one is called I Believe in Fairies because I love fairies. Good morning, Bev. How are you? I've got a thing about fairies. I don't know what it is. I just go potty for fairies. It's because he's been So this one is called I Believe in Fairies. There's Once Upon a Time, which I think is like fairy tale characters. There's a birthday one. There's I can't remember, but there's all sorts of different ones. They're all listed on the website. So if you click at the link that I pinned at the bottom of the live, it'll take you straight to the website and straight to the category that I've set up for that. The pop-up box card base die thingy what's it is, we haven't actually got any in stock at the moment. It is still available with Crafter's Companion because I checked yesterday, because quite often they discontinue popular products, but luckily this one hasn't been discontinued yet. So if anyone does want this particular die, let me know. Either put a comment on this post, or send us a message, or send us an email, whatevs, and then we can order that. Maybe in, if we're lucky, by next Monday when we're in the shop again to do contactless pickups. But I don't know. Can't guarantee it. So how is everyone this morning? Are you all well? Don't forget to like and share this post as well. If you just click the little share button at the bottom of this post and share it on your timeline, share it with any particular people, share it in groups. If there's any crafting groups that you're part of, if you share it with them as well, it all helps. We can boost our viewing figures a bit, get lots of people watching, because we're going to try and do a lot more of these Facebook Lives if we can. Anyone that doesn't know, we usually do a Facebook Live every, what's today, Tuesday? Every Tuesday at 11 in the morning, and then we also do one every Friday at 2 in the afternoon. So I usually do the Tuesdays and Ian usually does the Fridays. So we try to keep it quite regular so people know that we're going to be on when we say we are. Oh, hi Ethan. Hi Ethan and Maddie. Well, Maddie's probably not there, is she, at the moment, Donna? So Donna wants the pop-up box die, so I shall try and remember to put that in the book. Thank you, Donna. So that's the die. It does come with instructions, which are okay. They're not the best of instructions. They're, you know, the wording is all right, but the pictures are a little bit unclear. But good morning, Mum. So that's why I thought it'd be good to do a Facebook Live on it, so I can show you exactly how to do it, because sometimes people prefer to just watch it. So I'm going to crack on. This one, if I show you first of all, this pop-up box, just so you know as well, the pop-up box, they all fold flat, so you can post them, which is fabulous, which is a good thing with postage these days. So this one is one that was actually created by the beautiful Rhiannydd, who has been volunteering with us for a while. Anyone that comes into the shop, or used to come into the shop. Morning, John. It was John's 18th birthday yesterday, so wish him happy birthday for yesterday, everyone. How are you, John? All right? Hope you're not hungover. Yeah, so this one was done by Rhiannydd, and as you can see, it's got a nice bit of movement in it, because it's all these little bits are on acetate, but it does fold up flat, so you can pop it in an envelope and then put it in the post. So Rhiannydd has done lots of stamping and coloured with alcohol pens, which is lovely, isn't it? Beautiful. So that's that one. And then the one that I did yesterday was this one. So this one is, as you can see as well, my one's a little bit bigger, and I shall show you why that is in a minute. But this one, for anyone that doesn't like colouring particularly, I thought I'd show you how to use the stamps but not actually colour, because you know, not everyone wants to sit and colour. And I mean, although this took me a couple of hours, it was enjoyable, and because it's all just blending with inks. Guess which inks I used? It was the opaque pigment inks. Yay! I love these inks. They are my absolute favourite, and I'm going to have to get the rest of the colours now because I just can't live without them. Simple as. So yeah, so as you say, this one folds flat as well. This one might actually fit into a C5 envelope, probably. At a push. But obviously you can make it whatever size you want, so if you want to make it so that it does fit into a C5 envelope, you can make it a little bit smaller. Okay, so let's crack on. Excuse me. Oh, lots of happy birthdays for John there. Marvellous. So, first thing it says on the instructions, if I read the instructions to you, then you can sort of follow on with that as well. Place a piece of A4 card. So, you will need 2 pieces of A4 card. This is our 300 gram super smooth. That is on the link on the website if anyone's interested. So that's what I've used for this, because 300 gram is a nice sturdy weight for a card base anyway. And I've used that for everything basically, for all the elements as well. So you will need 2 sheets of A4 card for the base, and then you'll need probably another sheet and a half, 2 at the most, depending on how many extra elements you're going to do. I think with this one I die cut about 3 of each different element out, and then 1 of the fairy doors and 1 of the tags as well. So if you say 4 A4 sheets at the most, then at least you'll be all right with that. So it says place it in front of you. Place a sheet of A4 in front of you. I've already die cut mine, so I'll pretend. And then if I get the dies out, there's various different dies. The main one is this die here. So this is the one that actually does the main mechanism. And then it says to position it at the top of your sheet of A4 and die cut that. So whoop, I've done that. So once you've done that, that's what you get. And you'll see that it's like that, but it doesn't have a cutting line at the bottom, and it doesn't continue down, obviously, because it would be a waste of extra dye, so it will cost a fortune. So we'll talk about that in a minute. And then you do exactly the same with another sheet of A4. So you do that twice, first of all. Stick that back on my sheet. So you will now have 2 pieces of card that look like this. And I've got 2. I've got 1 over here and 1 here. So it does give you some score lines, and it does give you some cut lines. So the outer lines and these ones here are cut lines, and then there's some score lines there as well. But it'll do that all automatically when you put it through your machine. And regarding machines, you obviously, because it's an A4 sheet cut like that, you will need an A4 machine. Although it's only the width is A5s, you can't actually put it through. What am I trying to say? When you're die cutting it, you can't cut this piece of card in half and just have an A5 sheet and then cut that, because you don't. Well, you could do, but you'd end up with a really short box, which you don't really want to do. You want the extra bit for extra versatility. So yeah, so you will need an A4 machine. You can, and then all you do is you can use A5 plates if you want, because it's just an A5 die. Or you can just use the A4 plates and just put it through like that, whichever you prefer. So it says to use a guillotine. So I've already done one. I've already cut one down, but I shall cut this one down just to show you. Get my guillotine in. So it says use a guillotine or a craft knife and a ruler, because you could use a craft knife and ruler if you are confident with that, to continue these cutting lines all the way down to the bottom of your card. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in and line the edge of this up with the edge of the guillotine. Obviously, if you're using a trimmer, you'll have to line this line with your where it actually cuts. But I'm using my guillotine, so I'm just butting that line up and making sure that it's still square, and then cutting that, and then that will just cut the extra bit down there, and then rotate it, and it's exactly the same on this side as well. So pop it in the guillotine, butt it up to the top, make sure that it's lined up with the edge of my guillotine, and then cut that. There we are. So then that has extended that line down there as well. Okay. So that is all my cutting done. Yeah, ask any questions. If I can't answer them, Ian I'm sure can. Always here to help if we can. There we are. So I've got 2 that I've cut down to size. And that was step number 4. So turn my page over. And then step 5. You will notice that there is a score line down one side of the card and also in the center. These will create the corners of your box. So there's a score line there, and then there's a score line in the center, which is in between these 2 cut bits there. So then it says score and fold these lines so that your piece of card looks like this. And then there's a really unhelpful picture there that you can't actually see anything. So I'll get my scoreboard. I've already scored one, so this is the other one that I need to score. And it's a good idea if you're going to be using one of these big scoreboards. Good morning, Mel. How are you? Just having a sip of my coffee. Right, so it's a good idea to, you can use an A4 scoreboard. Doesn't have to be, because this is an A4 sheet, so it's you don't have to use a big scoreboard. But it's always a good idea when you've got a scoreboard to actually put a line down where your center is. So this is usually where we score an A4 sheet of card in half to make an A5 card. But quite often you can see where the score is at the top because the number is, but you don't know where it is down the bottom. You can't quite match it up. So so Ian has actually helpfully drawn a black line with just like a Sharpie pen or a permanent marker down the middle, so that we can see that the 15 is at the top there, and then I can see where the bottom line is as well, which I don't know if you can see. Let's slide that up a bit. So I know that that is the 15 line there, because that's where the black line, solid line is. So it just helps you to be able to line things up a little bit easier. So then what I'm going to do, it doesn't have to be on the 15 line, it can be on the 14 line or whatever, but I'm going to do it on the 15 line just to make it easy. So then I'm just going to put this cut line in the center of the score and butt it up to the top, so I know that it's going to be square. And then I'm just going to score down, all the way down to the bottom. So that. And then the easiest way to do this score line, to continue this round, is to rotate your card around. And this time it doesn't really matter if it's on the 15 or not. I'm just going to line that up so that it's roughly in the middle of this score line here. And then I'm going to start the score and go up to make sure that that is all done. Like that. There we are. So now I have a score line all the way down the left hand side and all the way down the middle, and that's on both sheets. Okay? So, simple pimple. Is everyone keeping up so far? Everyone know what I'm doing? What's the weather like with everyone? It's not too bad here today. It's got potential. It's blue sky, so We do like a bit of blue sky, don't we? So that was the scoring. So then it says, on a new piece of card, use the smaller die to cut 3 inserts for the inside of the box. Fold the tabs on each insert inwards as shown. So this is referring to this die down here. I need to take this down really because it keeps going wonky and it bugs me. So this die is the one that is actually going to be used inside for the 3 crossbars, as it were, that you add all your different elements to. So you need to die cut 3 of those on a sheet of card, and as if by magic I'll have 3 die cut here, da, da, da. And this is out of the 300-gram card again. So it'll die cut around the edges and it'll put 2 score marks at the top and the bottom as well, or the left and the right if you turn it sideways. And then it says to fold each of the tabs. So I'm going to fold those tabs. Doesn't matter which way, I tend to fold away from the score line because that's what Ian told me to do. But it's up to you. Has everyone shared this for me? Would be very helpful if you could do that for me. Oh, what are you doing? You're going to stick my... No, stick it down there, are you? Oh, Ian's sticking my mat down for me. Thank you very much.
There we are.
Well, so...
That's where you'll find it's too low now.
That's fine, it'll do. Right, so that's... Where am I up to? I'm lost now. That's right, so that was those 3 that I've finished now. So then step 9, if you look at one of the box pieces, you'll see that there are 3 score lines. These score lines are to be used with the inserts that you created in step 8. So basically what that means is, if you look on the original base cards that we cut, there are 3 little big eyes, basically, letter I's. Don't know if you can see those. I can't see if you can see them or not, but they're there. I'll try not to spit over everything. So there's 3 score lines that you can use to actually line up these with. So you don't have to sort of guess where they go. Right, so now I need to start sticking. So I'm going to be using my go-to glue, which is the High-Tack Original Very Sticky Glue. And I love this glue, it's amazing. The bung on the top is like a it's like a rubber bung. So it seals the nib really well. And this is going to be the actual ultimate challenge because I haven't opened this glue since yesterday. So if I take the bung off and let's see if it works. So then all you need to do is, you only need to work on one side first of all. So if I squeeze my glue, oh look, it's coming out. See, never clogs. Amazing. And then what you need to do is that needs to get stuck to up against this score line here. So you just line it up with that score line. Doesn't matter if it's not perfect. And just try and make sure that it's relatively lined up. So that's my first one. Do the same with the next one. So line it up with the edge. sure that those are lined up together. This glue grabs so quickly. It's brilliant. And then the third one. And then line that up with that. And then make sure that all three of those are relatively square with each other. Okay, so then we don't worry about these ones yet. We'll do those in a bit. So then step 12, apply adhesive to the long tab on the second piece of card and attach the two pieces together as shown. Well, you can't really see it from the picture, but the long tab is this long tab here. So basically that is going to get, so this is going to be, now that's the inside of my box. So I need to put glue on the back of this so I can stick the tab in there so that it doesn't show on the outside, because you don't really want this to be shown on the outside because it would look a bit ugly. So, and it's always best to use, they do advise using a wet glue rather than double-sided tape or ultra sticky tape or anything like that, because there's a little bit more wiggle room. If it's not in quite the right place, you can wiggle things around a bit, whereas with tape you can't. So stick that there. It's not too close to the not too close to the score line. So that's that. Grabs so quickly, this glue, it's fab. Can you tell I like this glue? So that is, what was that? That was number 12, wasn't it? Attach the two pieces together as shown. Right, so I've done that. So then step 13, fold all of the inserts inwards. Apply adhesive to the tab on each of the inserts and also down the long tab on the right hand side of the box. Right, so basically bring all my tabs in. Like that. Because then what we're going to do is we're going to stick glue on there and then we're going to fold it over and they should all line up perfectly with this side. So I'm going to stick some glue just on the tabs there, and then I also need to put glue on to this long bit on the left. Now which way do I need to do that? That needs to go, yes, that needs to go on the inside, on the back side, so that it doesn't show. So fold that one in as well. And then put some glue. Yes, that's right in it, yeah. And there. Anyone doing anything nice today? Any exciting plans? Or are you just going to be inside crafting? So fold that over. Stick it to that part there. Get my little scory tool. Make sure that that's burnished. Right. So now hopefully when I open this up, it's stuck to the right bit. It worked yesterday fine, but of course today it probably won't work now. So then when I open it up, haven't left them long enough. Give them a bit more of a stick. So they grab. And then when you open it up, oh, they're not sticking now. Why are they not sticking now? They stuck perfectly yesterday. It's probably because I didn't fold these lines. You probably need to fold those lines down the middle as well. First of all, if I fold those. Oh, poo, poo, poo. It worked beautifully yesterday when I did it. I thought, oh, there we are, that's easy.
You folded all the lines first yesterday.
Yes, because as Ian said, it's because I folded all the lines yesterday. So don't do what I did. Make sure you score all the lines and fold them before you fold it over and stick the tabs. So this glue does stick really quickly unless you cock things up like I just did. There we are, so it's alright now. You hear that? Yeah, so it's because I didn't fold the other ones, so just need to make sure that I fold them. There we are. So that is probably that way as well. Just make sure the crease marks are okay. There we are. So that's my 3 central bits. So we got there. So that was that bit. Then it says we will now fold the box using the score lines. Oh right, I've already done that, I think. Fold it on and press down to show it. Yeah, so I've done that. So then step 15. If you have used wet glue, allow the glue to dry completely before proceeding to the next step or stage. If you have used tape, you can open the box out straight away, but I wouldn't use tape. And I'm sure it does say somewhere, don't use tape. Decorate the box as desired. There we are. So that is all the steps. So it does come, this actually comes with the box die anyway, the pop-up box die. So you can refer to this if you need a reminder. So I shall pop that aside. Anyone new on? Say hello. I may have missed you. Ian's just making a cup of coffee. He was making himself a cup of tea, but I'm sure he wouldn't mind making me a nice cup of coffee as well. Oh, hello Alison, how are you? Dear, why do you keep forgetting? We're on here every week at the same time.
Although it'll be different.
No, I'm going to carry on doing 11.
Right.
Yep, so every Tuesday at 11 in the morning, every Friday at 2 in the afternoon. Until further notice. But you can always watch us back either on Facebook or we've got a YouTube channel. And all the lives I upload afterwards to there as well, so you can watch them at your convenience, wherever you prefer. Some people like to watch them on YouTube because they can project it onto their televisions and or whatever, or watch it on their computer.
Sorry about the carpet noise, everyone.
Probably can't hear it, Ian.
Needs less.
So that is the pop-up box. Then the only other thing that you need to do is decide what size you want it. So on this one, if I bring this one over, oh good grief. As you can see, I cut just a bit off the bottom. And then on this one, that Rihanna did, haven't seen her on here this morning, I don't know if she's around. This one cut quite a lot off of this one. More or less in half that was.
That was for the...
Yeah, so it was more or less lined up with the with that. So it's entirely up to you what size you want to do it. You can do it that size, you can do it that size, or you can do it somewhere in between. So I think I might actually do it just a little bit. I think I might do it to around about there, just so it's a little bit different. Surely it's not your age, Alison. You're only 30s? Same age as me, 36. Oh, Donna says she'll miss our lives. Well, if we can, we might carry on doing lives. If we get enough people watching and enough people interested in them, we might try and carry them on a bit, because we are finding that we're able to show off, showcase certain products. There may be something that we've got in the shop that's been sitting there for a while that people aren't sure what to do with, and rather than organising demo days and all the expense of that, sometimes it's better to just do a Facebook Live. So you never know, we may be able to carry on doing some Facebook Lives. Yay! I doubt if it'll be so regular, but we'll see. It's all very uncertain at the moment anyway, so... Alright, so all I'm going to do is make sure you cut the bottom, not the top. Excuse me. Make sure you cut the bottom, not the top, because the top bit is where the pop-up element is. And then I'm just going to cut down here. Thank you. My Fitbit's died, so I don't know what the time is.
Mm-hmm.
62. Oh wow, that's still young these days. That's nothing, is it? There we are. So I've cut just a bit off the bottom. So now my pop-up box is going to be a bit shorter than this one. Only by a little bit, just a little bit shorter. Exactly, Dawn. You know, it's makes it more versatile then, because you can watch it in your own time. If you can't watch it live, and you can go back to things. You can, because they're always going to be on there now until eternity. It means that if you do think, oh, how did he do that pop-up box again? You can go back and have a look at me waffling on again. Yes, that is a good idea, isn't it, Mum? Because my mum has only got... there is a craft shop near her, but it's not as good as ours, of course. So it's quite nice to be able to craft along at home, or just watch them at home in the comfort of your own craft room or whatever. Yeah, and Donna has got lots of things she hasn't used for a long time, so if there's anything in particular anyone wants to see a Facebook Live on, or a demo on, just let us know and we'll see if we can do it. There may be something that you've had sat there for ages and you think, I can't remember what to do with that. So, right, back to the live. So, then the only other thing that I need to do, the thing that I forgot to do, I made a bit of a mistake on my original, but I'm going to remember now. You only make the mistake once. Is the front? This is the front of my box. So then I'm going to fold this one down. This little one here. So I get my tool. So that one I'm going to fold down, and then this one I'm going to fold down as well, which is the side, one of the square side ones. And I'm also going to fold down the other square side one. But the back one I'm going to leave as it is. It's not the end of the world if you fold them all down. on my original one, I folded all 4 down, so that it just means that the back one is supposed to be like a backdrop to your card. So all I did with that is I actually stuck some of my elements onto the back to try and keep it held up. Otherwise it might sort of flop down a little bit. But if you just fold those 3 and then leave that one as it is, then that should stand proud, as they say. Yes, I know. Well, we haven't had classes for a long time, Lynn. Yeah. I think March was the last time we actually did any classes. So yes, it is nice that we can get into people's homes without you having to come out. Alright, so that's those 3 folded and the back one done. And then for the extra bits, this space die is really useful actually, because it comes with a square die and it also comes with a rectangle die. So the rectangles obviously fit perfectly in there, the squares fit perfectly in there, obviously the rectangle will go there, and then it's up to you where you put them. I mean, you don't have to use the dies, you can mat and layer your own colour card or whatever. It's entirely up to you. So I have pre-cut a load of rectangles and squares in readiness. It's up to you how many you want to cut. If I look at my original one, I cut 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 of the rectangles, and then I had 1, 2, 3, 4 of the squares. I didn't decorate the back, but you can decorate the back as well if you wanted. Up to you. And then these 2 are going to be for little tags. So I used this one. I actually used this tag. It's only got a hole on one side. It's obviously so that you can use it as like a hanging tag or something, I suppose. But if you notice, on this one I actually wanted it on both sides. So all I did was I die cut it once, took the die out, turned it around, put it back in the die, stuck it down with some low-tack tape, because the first time I did it I didn't and it moved. So stick it down with some low-tack tape and then put it through your die cutting machine again, and then it'll end up die cutting the other side as well. But this one doesn't have any holes. If you wanted to put holes in, you can use a hole punch or whatever. But so I thought I'd use that one for a change. And then that's like just sort of like a square one, which Rianne has used on her card as well. Just there. Okay, so there's lots of different options to choose from. As I said, I'm not gonna bother colouring. If you wanted to use colour card, you can use colour card, and then you can mat and layer it if you wanted, or just put the one down. But I'm going to do some colouring with my favourite colours and my favourite inks, which are the opaque pigment inks by Spectrum Noir, the Harmony ones. There's 37 different colours to choose from, including white, which I need. So the opaque inks, they're pigment based. They take a bit longer to dry, so if you wanted to use embossing powders, clear embossing powders or anything like that with them, you can. And they give a beautiful crisp stamped image. That was stamped, I believe, was stamped with one of these, and they do give a really nice clear stamped image. But because they're opaque, you can use them on black card, and then they will show up on black. And I just love them. A really strong, nice, strong colour to them. Because sometimes with the standard inks, standard dye-based ink, like the Mementos and or the water reactive ones, which we also have, sometimes the colours are a bit more subtle. So if that's your thing, then then do that. But I wanted something a bit more exciting. So very quickly, I'm going to, I say very quickly, it'll probably take all morning. I'm going to colour my rectangles and my squares. And I used, I think in my original one, I used the pink tulip. So I might use fuchsia, crushed velvet, or damson wine. Damson wine is a bit dark. I think I might go for fuchsia, because then there's a little bit of a contrast. Or shall I go for oh no, I'm going to go for crushed velvet. So I'm just doing this on my blending mat. You can use a blending mat, a glass cutting mat, or what's the other one? Non-stick craft sheet, something like that. I always end up creasing some of them as well. And this is just using my smoothie. And the smoothies, I have put them in the category on the website. They're not actually in stock at the moment, but I have ordered more and they are going to be coming in later today. I had a notification this morning to say that it was going to be arriving today. I've got a Creative Expressions order, which is the smoothies and some other bits and bobs. And then I've also got a Crafts 2 order. We finally managed to get some more of the Press to Impress stamping tools. Yay! Because they've been out of stock for months and months and months. And it didn't help when China was shut down for a while as well. So they weren't able to get any more stock. So if anyone does want a Press to Impress, we've got a couple on pre-order anyway. A couple of customers that have already pre-ordered, but we've ordered extras. So if anyone wants one who hasn't already got one, they are amazing. And I would show you it, but it's a bit out of my reach at the moment. That was a subtle hint to Ian, but he doesn't seem to have taken it. Ian? Can you grab our Press to Impress, please? So I'm just going around the edges. With the smoothie, and these smoothies are fab. They just give such a lovely blend. You can leave the middle out if you wanted to. But I'm just going to put a bit in the middle just to... and I like to leave it quite sort of blotchy as well. It's a nice sort of distressed effect. Yeah, so if anyone's interested, this is the Press to Impress stamping tool. Just got a magnet stuck to the bottom.
You only get two.
Oh, you only get 2 magnets, which is probably why Ian stuck it to the bottom. I know Lynn's got one of these and she loves it, and Donna as well. So you can use all your stamps. You can use your clear stamps, your rubber stamps, your mounted stamps, clarity stamps, which are thicker as well, because all you do is you take out the this foam sheet, and then it allows you to stamp the thicker stamps. But the beauty of it is that once you've positioned your piece of card, piece of whatever, you hold it down with the magnets, position your stamp on there, take it up, ink it up, and then you stamp. And then if you want to restamp, or if you've missed a bit, you can bring it over again and it will stamp in exactly the same place again. And sometimes if you stamp something like a sentiment or something and it's not quite the strength that you want, then you can restamp again, re-ink and restamp as many times as you want, and it'll always stamp in exactly the same place. As long as you don't move, as long as your card doesn't move, obviously. So it's revolutionised stamping, definitely. Fab tool. We have sold loads of them. Good morning, Jane. How are you? Are you in your hot tub with a glass of champers this morning? I so need to get myself a hot tub. I'm just so jealous. Carolyn, yes, we do. I think, yes, I'm sure I've ordered some, actually. Some of the extra magnets, because that was something else that's been out of stock for ages, obviously, because everything comes from China. So I'm pretty sure I've ordered some more of the spare magnets. I think you get a pack of 4. Because they're magnets, we can't send them in the post, because we're not allowed to send anything that's magnetic via Royal Mail or courier. So it would be a store pickup only. But then I'm sure that'll be all right for Caroline, because we've also got her. Is it your home plaque? Home door plaque?
Even though courier delivers it to us.
Yeah, but I'm not sure if that's because they've got certain arrangements with our suppliers, whereas we haven't. So we'd rather not chance it. Yeah, so I think they come in a pack of 4. Don't know what the price is. But they should be on the website. They'll say sold out at the moment, obviously because we haven't got any stock, but by the end of today the stocks will be on the website. So if you have a look later this evening or tomorrow, they'll be on there. La, 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 la. Yep, Donna loves her press to impress. Yeah, so I'm just gonna do exactly the same with my squares. You can use different colours if you want. You can do all your rectangles one colour and then all your squares a different colour, or you could do half of your rectangles one colour and half a different colour. It's entirely up to you. But I'm just going to stick with the one colour. You'll hear my music playing in the background. I think it's the flute one I've got on at the moment, by Yellow Brick Cinema, because it's royalty free music, so there's no copyright issues or anything like that. Just stick it on, go to YouTube and type in Yellow Brick Cinema, and they've got a channel on there with loads and loads of different music. I should get commission really for advertising them. Anyone got any questions while I'm doing a bit of inking about this or anything else you would like to know? Any exciting news? I think I'm only going to need a couple of these, so I'll just do 4, I think, of these ones. Anyone that has heard about Ian's mum as well, because she's been in hospital for a few days. She's still in at the moment, but she's much better. She's had a pacemaker fitted. So she's going to be a new woman when she comes out. Not sure when it'll be, whether it'll be today, later on today, or in the next couple of days. But yeah, she's had a few heart issues. Ooh, what's that? Should be with us by end of day. As soon as Mum is home, I will draw out your design for the Gemini stand. What's that then, Ian?
Magnets.
All right. Confusing me there. Right, so that is all my squares and all my rectangles. I've probably done too many rectangles, but hey ho. But that's the thing, it didn't take long, did it? Don't know what time it is, but it didn't take that long to do those. So then I will just quickly clean up this, and because these are water-based inks, all you need to do to clean it up is just use a bit of water. Yes, you can spritz it with water and then dab it with on a piece of card to make a nice background and, you know, all that stuff, but I can't be bothered. There we are. So that's that. So then, so all my little elements, I have already pre-die cut because I didn't want to bore you. So these are from this is from the I Believe in Fairies set, which is the one that coordinates with the pop-up box die. It is a lovely, beautiful shade, isn't it? It's crushed velvet. Crushed velvet opaque pigment ink. That one is, Alison. It is lovely. Morning, Alison. Morning, Gaynor, even. I'm getting all confused. Morning, Gaynor, how are you? So, each of these sets of dies and stamps comes with a set of dies and a set of stamps. So you can stamp all of the different objects, elements out, and then they've got the coordinating dies as well. I tend to, it's entirely up to you. Some people prefer to stamp and then die cut. I prefer to die cut and then stamp, hence the reason I've already die cut everything. So it's entirely up to you. I wouldn't use to stamp your press to impress or stamping tool because no, I don't need that, do I? I wouldn't use that because there's not enough room for you to be able to use the magnets to position your piece of card and then stamp over the top of it. So the way I tend to do it is again on my blending mat, I just take my stamp, stick onto my mat, and because it's a cling stamp, it clings to the mat. And then all I need to do is get my die cut, and remember this, obviously this is a bit with a beveled edge, so this is the front, so I need to make sure that when I stamp down. Need to choose the ink I'm going to use, and this one I'm going to use Damson Wine, which is a bit of a stronger colour. So these inks do stamp beautifully, a really crisp, lovely image. So all you do is just ink up your stamp and then carefully position your die cut over the top, and then once you're happy, push it down. Make sure you hold it down with one hand and then just give it a bit of a press so that the image transfers onto your card, because obviously you don't want it to move. If you don't like doing it this way, you can do it the other way. If you want to stamp first on a bigger piece of card and then die cut later, you can do that. and then carefully lift it off. Look at that, amazing! And it gives you a lovely crisp image. And this one is actually, miracle of miracles, it's actually lined up really well. Sometimes it might be a smidge off, but it doesn't matter because I'm going to be inking around the edges anyway, so you can cover up any faux pas with a bit of inking. So I'm just going to do another one. Exactly the same, so position it carefully over, line it up, hold it with one hand and then just give it a bit of a press with the other to make sure all of the elements are transferred, and then carefully lift it off. Oh, and there's my second one. Okay, and then quick spritz and a clean. I was going to see if I could actually stamp some of these in advance, but I didn't have time this morning. I did all my die cutting and then didn't have time to do any of the inking, so apologies for that. So that's that one done. So I'll just leave those to the side for the moment just to dry, because they do take a few minutes to dry. And then I've got, if I go for my, find my big flowers. How many of these did I do? Did I do 3 or 4? I did 4. More is more, I think is the thing on this. Not less is more, but more is more. And the other thing that I tend to find, it obviously depends on what you're comfortable with, but I usually find it easier to actually line stamps up with the dies if I just put it sideways rather than that way. If I put it that way, it's a bit awkward, whereas if I put it sideways, if it's a longer stamp, then it tends to, I just find it easier. Good morning, Peter, how are you? No idea how much the fairy set is. If you click on the link at the bottom, it'll take you to the website and they're all on there. I'm not sure how much they are actually. You do get a set of stamps and a set of coordinating dies in that, so and then I'm going to vary this, so I'm going to do some in the pink tulip. So I'm going to start with the palest colour first of all. Some in the pink tulip first of all, so excuse my head if it comes in too short. Yeah, so just work your way around, pushing down everywhere. Lift that off. It's quite a subtle stamp, but that's all right. And then the reason I went in with the palest one first of all is so I didn't have to clean my stamp after every ink. So then this is the fuchsia. Yeah, I wouldn't do it on the press to impress Lynn. What you could do, because Lynn has limited mobility with her hands.
Yes, she would have to.
So what you would, the easiest way to do it for you would be to put all of your stamps onto the press to impress, and then a piece of card, and then stamp all of your elements onto that. It's a subtle one as well, isn't it? And then die cut them all afterwards. That would be the easiest way for you to do it, I think. Rather than doing it this way, because I think this might be a bit too fiddly. But just whatever works for you, really. There's no right or wrong. Ooh, and you can get a nice bit of variety as well, so you can get a mixture of different colours as well. Let's try that. So a bit of fuchsia, and you could even go with green down the bottom if you wanted, which would be for the leaves. Until you actually press down, the ink doesn't actually transfer over either. So if you do find that it's not quite in the right place, as long as you haven't actually pressed it down yet, then you should be okay. Ooh, there we are. So that's like a two-tone. So then that's all those done. So it's easiest to work on one stamp at a time. Stamp all those out first of all. And then go on to the next one afterwards. So that's that one. Have another flower, so I'm going to put it sideways again. Ooh, do I try a bit of green? Yeah, I'll try a bit of green. So I'll put a bit of green at the bottom on the leaf, and then a bit of the fuchsia. That's the thing, you can play to your heart's content with these. And because this is the fairy one, it's quite fantasy anyway. Yeah, so we've got my leaf going into the sort of the fuchsia colour. Yeah, I quite like that actually. So just put a bit more of the green on. And then a bit of crushed velvet. It's a lovely colour, this is the crushed velvet. Oh, there we are. So the sets, the die and stamp sets, are $14.99 each, which is not bad price, is it, when you think you get all of those dies and coordinating stamps in there? And there's loads of elements in there as well. So, and you don't have to use them just on the pop-up box. You can use them on any type of any project that you got. Yeah, I quite like the green layer on the bottom. It's quite pretty. And then this is the damson. Damson wine. Too late. What's too late? What did you bide?
The fairy set.
I hope you bought it from us.
They probably did.
Your smoothies should be with you soon as well, Peter. Because we sent them out and they'll probably be with you today, actually. With any luck, because they were sent out yesterday by courier. And the courier's usually pretty quick if it's quite a local delivery. So, yeah, Peter bought all of our smoothies last week. They are lovely though, I do like the smoothies. But we've got more coming in, so don't panic. And then we've got the mushroom. I love mushrooms. These little, what, is it a mushroom or a toadstool? What's the difference? Who knows? But they are very cute, aren't they? And I think with these I might use... I'm going to use the pink tulip on the top. And then I'll use a darker colour on the bottom bit.
The very one you was using. I just bought it from you.
Your spelling is terrible, Peter.
Slang. It's street.
Yeah. Oh yeah, so it's a two-tone toadstool. What was that? That was pink tulip, wasn't it? So then if I go for fuchsia. I'm having a lovely time. I don't know about you. You're probably all bored out your skull watching me doing all this stamping and inking.
Don't have to worry about putting the lids on too much either.
Oh, I always put the lids on because
It's okay, mixed up.
I don't want them to dry out.
Because they're pigment.
I suppose if you're doing it, using them quite regularly, then they won't dry out, will they? So that was crushed velvet, and then I'm going to do a couple of darker ones as well. So this is the crushed velvet, and then I'm going to put a bit of damson wine at the bottom as well. Ah, so I think toadstools are obviously the ones that might be poisonous. Maybe toadstools the ones with the spots on. Toadstools have spots on and mushrooms don't. Because you never see a mushroom with a spot on it, do you? Or at least I haven't.
Not unless you've got a dog called Spot and he happens to sit on it. Now it'd be proper good. I learned it in English class in school. Fine.
Well, see, so it's really easy to stamp die cuts. And 9 times out of 10 they'll be lined up relatively well as well. So if you've got any other coordinating stamps and die sets, then you can do exactly the same with those as well. So then I've got a couple of leaves, and the leaves, last time I did them in green. Grasshopper. This is grasshopper green. So I'm just going to quickly do these. Oops, I've gone completely wonky on that one, I think. That doesn't matter. So I'm re-inking every time as well. So I get a nice crisp image. So it does take a while to do all these, and obviously if you're going to colour them all with pens or anything like that, then obviously it would take even longer. I've done all those now. But we've got plenty of time and it's enjoyable, and we need to do more of what we enjoy, don't we? You know, there's no rush, or at least there won't be when you're doing it.
Just ask people if they have a question to ask it.
Yeah.
It's just a question.
Oh, dear, dear. Did you have a question, or you just wanted to say the word question there, Peter? I guess the latter. Because we are going to start It's funny you should say that, actually. I had a similar question to that this morning, Peter. I was trying to work out what the difference between VersaFine and VersaFine Clair was, and I can't figure out what the difference is. But VersaFine, which I do have here actually, this is the Onyx Black. The VersaFine is an oil-based pigment ink, so it is a little bit more slow drying than some other inks like StazOn, and so you can put embossing powders on it and heat emboss it if you wanted to, but it does give a really crisp, clean image, clean stamp, and because the clue's in the name as well, VersaFine, if you've got any really fine stamps, it will pick out all of the really fine detail in stamps. A VersaMark is a clear embossing ink, so that is what you use with your embossing powders. So it's a clear ink, so if you stamp it onto something, well, it's a watermark ink, so you could stamp it onto black card and then leave it to dry, and then you get a nice watermark finish. But if you put embossing powders on it while it's still wet, then you can heat it, and you can get a nice embossed finish like that.
The other difference between VersaFine and StazOn is VersaFine you can't use on plastic or parchment.
Why?
Because it doesn't dry, because it's oil based.
Whereas VersaFine
StazOn
stays on.
is alcohol based and it dries quickly, so you can use it on plastic and.
Which is why you can't use StazOn for
alcohol colour.
embossing.
Alcohol colour.
Right, so then I've got another little, tiny little baby toadstool. So I'll just do a couple of those really quickly. No problem. I know it can be a bit confusing sometimes, and knowing which ink you can use with depending on what you're colouring, if you're using alcohol pens or watercolouring and things like that. So yeah, it can be a bit confusing sometimes. The rule of thumb is opposites. Think opposites. So if you're going to be using alcohol pens, you can't use an alcohol-based ink. And if you're using watercolours, you can't use a water-based ink. Either that or just buy our Harmony, Finesse ink pads, which tell you on the lid what they can be used for. Alright, Donna's already got the Popup box. Fabulous. Which stamp and die set have you bought, Donna? Or which ones didn't you buy? So then the last thing I've got is a little butterfly. Little cute little butterfly. And then with the butterfly, oh yes, I just did that as well. So I'm going to use crushed velvet. And then I think what I'm going to do, because on my original one I went around and I inked around the edges on every single element, but it's going to take me too long, I think, to do that on the live today. So I'll show you on a couple of elements what I did, and then I can finish them all afterwards, because you're not going to want to see me inking around loads of different elements. Yes, not a problem, Peter. Got to order one for someone else, didn't? I thought Donna said that she wanted the pop-up box die, but she says I already had it. Have you already got it or not, Donna? I'm confused now. I'm sure she said at the beginning of the live that she wanted it. Ooh, I believe in fairies and the birthday one. Yeah, they're all lovely, aren't they?
I have the pop-up box tie, but I would be looking at the other sun, she said at the beginning.
I have the pop-up box. I'm sure someone said, can you have a look back? I'm sure someone said that they wanted it.
It wasn't on my phone beginning, mine.
Oh, can you not see the... Don't worry, I'll have a look.
No, Donna said she's got the pop-up box tie from beginning.
Oh, maybe I read it wrong then.
Yeah.
So if you can put Peter down for one, please.
Yes, I did say that to Peter.
My fault, Donna. Didn't read it proper. Right. So that looks quite nice like that. Actually, I might. Yeah, but I'll show you on a couple what I did with my original one, because on my original one, as you can see, I inked around all of them just to give it a nice finish, and then it takes away all of the white around the edges as well. So what I did with quite a lot of them as well was I used contrasting colours as well. So if I had a dark one, I might use the fuchsia or the pink tulip. So I think I'll use the fuchsia on this. Alright, Carolyn Crimmins already wants the pop-up box card die as well. So
And the dotty tape runners.
and the dotted tape runners, yeah. So all I did was I used my smoothies. And then just go around the edge, working in a little bit as well, and then it just gives it a really nice soft finish, but gives it more of a defined edge as well. And then I think on the original one I actually did a brown door, but on this one I'm going to do What colour door should I do? Should I do a... Take some of the excess off of here. And I'm just going to do crushed velvet. So just pull some of that ink out. Because the other thing you could do as well is if you stamp with the oxide, the opaque pigment inks, if you stamp onto watercolour card, then you could actually stamp it and then pull the ink out as well. So that's another way of doing it. Get a nice bit of a glow. And if you wanted, you can stamp the home out and stick that on the top and make it a bit more 3D. So that's that's what I did with this one. So basically I just went around every single one, and then the other thing I did as well with the butterflies, just to show you that. Just to make it a little bit more 3D is did I use these? No, I didn't use the smoothies, did I? I used my finger daubers because these were a bit smaller. So what I did with my butterflies is I just inked up the body, and then I turned it around, and then I did a bit of an ink just on the tips of the wings. Oh, hi Deborah, better late than never. Lol. There we are. So I didn't ink all the way around the butterfly. I left a little bit of a white bit in the middle. Can you see that? Just to give it a little bit more dimension. So I'll do that with my butterflies, because the butterflies won't take 2 seconds to do. And then I can tell you about the acetate then. So it just gives it a bit of extra dimension, putting a bit of ink. And then it doesn't matter what ink you can use same colour as you stamped in, or you can use a different colour. How are you, Deborah? All right? Don't tell me you just got up. So then just ink around the edges there. So I'm just leaving a bit in the middle in the white just to give it a bit of dimension. I think that looks quite pretty with the butterflies. So as I say, I did ink around all the other ones as well on my original, but I won't bore you with that today. And actually it looks quite nice having it quite plain. It's just a different look. Right, so put those aside. My little stack of inks. I need to get a little ink tray now, ink pad tray. Right, so then, right, so I'm going to stick I think I'm going to stick these on now, because I need to. So I'm going to stick my little squares and rectangles onto my base. nice even border around the edges. Ooh, washing on the line, get you! And then the easiest way to stick, when you're going to stick anything onto any of these bits or the front bit, is to just fold it down. So you've got a flat surface that you can push it down onto. Oh, dear, dear, dear. Peter, your jokes are getting worse. I think this lockdown is getting to you. So have you used your pop-up die yet, Donna? You say you've already got the pop-up box die. Have you given it a go? Made anything with it yet? Yeah, so just make sure that when you stick them on the right side, not the back. Yeah, you can use all purpose if you want. Especially because it's 300 gram I've used here, so. I just like to use, I used to like the all purpose. I used to love using the all purpose, but now I prefer this one. So then I'm going to stick one of these on the front down the bottom there. You can't remember how to use your e-bosser? It's not difficult, is it an e-bosser you've got? Or is it a cut and boss? Good grief, if it's an e-bosser, that's a really old machine now, isn't it? Easy to use though, Donna. Easy squeezy. Well, so just sticking these on here, and it's entirely up to you. Because something else I might have done as well, because on my original one I stamped a couple of fairies on some of the on the little spaces. So if it's easier for you, you can stamp those on beforehand if you can figure out where you're going to put things. No, that won't fit there, so I might just put another one there. I think it's quite nice having the leaving the middle quite white, because it just gives it a nice glowy finish, nice and ethereal. There we are. So that's all of those stuck onto there. Still got a couple left that I haven't used, but I can use them on another card, or I can stick them on the back if I wanted to. Make it a bit more interesting. And a couple of blanks there as well. So with regard to the acetate pieces, you can use acetate, either normal acetate, extra thick acetate if you can get it. The other alternative as well, which is what I'm actually going to use today, which is a brilliant idea. If you've got a laminator and any laminating pockets, these make perfect wobblers for your pop-up box. So all you do is put a blank laminating sheet through your laminator so that the whole thing sticks together and goes hard. And then you just cut it into, I think this was just 1 centimetre wide strips. by however long they are, don't know. And they make really firm wobblers for your pop-up box. So then all I've done is put a little piece of red liner tape. So this is the ultra clear tape. This one is the 6mm one, which is perfect, the perfect width for this. 3mm would be right as well. And if you only had 12mm, then obviously cut your wobblers so they're slightly wider so that they fit the tape better. And then the only other thing you need to be aware of is where these middle struts finish. So obviously you don't want to put tape down the bottom here and then put that in and then find that you want it lower rather than higher, because if you put the tape at the top then it can only go at a certain height. So if you want it to go lower, you need to figure out where you're going to put it before you put the other piece of tape on, and then just cut it off. So if you wanted a shorter one, put some tape there and then cut it off there, so that it's nice to have a bit of a variation in height. So as you can see on this one, I've got some that are lower down, some of the back ones tend to be higher up, the front ones tend to be lower. You don't have to put them all onto acetate as well. I mean, these ones are on acetate, but these ones here, I've actually just stuck that to the back of the card. And those ones, the little leaves have been stuck to the front. You can stick some on the back board there as well. So it's entirely up to you, and and as long as they don't interfere with the mechanism, it will still fold flat for postage. Pretty, isn't it? So I'll just quickly show you on this one. So I cut this in half. So you'll probably end up needing, you know, one sheet of laminating sheet will probably last you for ages, because you need such a small amount. So I'm just going to stick a piece of tape on the other end and then peel off this horrible backing stuff. And luckily my nails are quite long, so I'm alright, but if you've got shorter nails it's a bit of a nightmare. So this one, I'm going to put one of these on, I think. So I'm just going to stick that on there. And then decide where I want to put it. I'm going to stick this one in the middle, I think, somewhere. Right in the middle. And then push it onto the back. It's always best to put, if you're putting the acetate, put it onto the back of the crossbar, so you can't see any sticky or anything like that. And there we are, there's my first one. So then I shall use one of the longer ones, one of the bigger ones, and decide where I want this to go. I want it to be a bit higher, but not too high. And then cut that a bit shorter. What's the time?
12:39.
Oh, good grief, 12:39. Right, so I'll just show you quickly on this, because you don't really need to see me sticking all of these on, do you? Stick that onto my wobbler, and then just make sure that it doesn't go past further down than where that strut is. There we are. And then it's just a case of working your way around randomly. Put some in the middle, some at the back, some at the front. And then you can put some of the leaves. I wouldn't put them on this bit so much because it might interfere a little bit, But if you wanted some leaves at the front, you can put them behind there, or you can put them on the front of the next strut, and then just work your way all around. That actually doesn't stand up very well, so I might just use that, I think, actually on the front. And then you can stick them flat if you want, or you can stick them on with foam pads. So that's what I did on my first one. So I stuck this actually on with foam pads, and then one of the little butterflies I stuck onto there. I stuck a butterfly onto one of the toadstools there, so they don't all have to go onto the acetate wobblers if you don't want them to. One on the back there, you know, all over the place. And then I stamped a couple of these butterflies from the Creative Stamping magazine. This was issue 83, I think it is. Enchanted Woodland stamp set this is, which is amazing. It's really nice. So I do love that. That would go nice at the bottom as well. I might have to do that sometime. And then all I did was I stamped Believe in the middle of my tag, inked around it just to give a bit of a bit of definition. Put that onto foam pads and stuck that on there. And then there's still room on the back if you wanted to leave some space for someone to write a note, or if you wanted to put a verse, a sentiment or anything like that, you could do that on the back. And that is basically it. So I'm going to spend another couple of hours sticking all of those on. So I'll share that later with everyone. If anyone's made any of these cards already, share it on. If you send us a message on Facebook to Valleycraft and say that you're happy for us to share it, then we can share it onto our Facebook page so everyone else can see. So this was the one that Rhiannon did with colouring in with alcohol pens, and then this is the one that I did with inking around everything. So what do you think? Do we like? Do you need to water them? No, well, they're water-based, so you don't need to water them. They come with their own water. So thank you for joining me again, everyone. Glad you enjoyed it, Lynn. And we're back in the shop to pick any orders next Monday from 10 till 12. So if anyone's placed any orders for store pickup, you can come to the shop to pick those up next Monday. We'll remind you on Friday anyway. And if anyone places any orders for delivery, again, we'll be picking those on Monday, so they'll be dispatched next Monday. So thank you for joining me. Take care, stay safe, everyone. Ian will be back on Friday at 2 o'clock in the afternoon. So this Friday at 2 p.m. Not sure what he's doing yet, but we'll figure out something. Oh, he's going to be doing Groovy apparently. So even if you're not interested in parchment craft, join us and take a couple of hours to just, you know, watch Ian doing some wonderful things. Glad you all enjoyed it. Stay safe, and we shall see you all soon. And don't forget, the link is at the bottom if you want to order anything. Okay, love you all. Bye.